heard this and hit the playback. Bounced to Fairfield in the Maybach. And to them niggas who said that I wasn't where I said I was from, oh wait, they ain't say that. AKSQ, you're my home done. I was in the field like I was looking for a home run. Oh,
welcome back to another episode of the NBA Clinic. I am back here once again, your host with the most, Jony Sterlz. Get at me, cause my name is my motherfucking name.
You know, it's your boy, Jony Sterlz, Pascal, Mike Lowry, whatever you want to call me. We back in this thing. We coming at you live.
And we coming at y'all with some heat today because, good Lord, were there some GM seats on fire. This NBA trade deadline, Sterling, was probably one of the craziest ones I have seen in a while.
Definitely. There was so much crazy stuff going on, stuff that was speculated, and then the stuff that actually happened. It was definitely one of the best in a while.
And with the craziness that we were just referring to earlier, we got to start it off with my team, man. The New York Knickerbockers. Did we just trade the best player we've ever had since Patrick Ewing? Yes. Did we also give away two other starters that were key rotational players for most of our minutes of the past 2 years? Yes. Did we also give away a point guard that had a blossoming breakout season last year and showed signs of potential this year, both coming off the bench and starting within Trey Burke? Yes, as well. A lot of people, especially ESPN, was trying to write this off as one of the craziest, most detrimental moves a franchise could possibly make. I turned on the TV every single day for the past week just to hear pieces of shit like Brian Windhorst remind me that this could possibly set the Knicks back for the next 5 years. But guess what? This is a new page. And this is the perfect time to turn the page because look at what we got back. DeAndre Jordan and Wesley Matthews. Two players that we can replace in that starting rotation and can give us key minutes leading the young players. And more importantly, guess what's going on with the contracts, baby? They are expiring, which means they don't have to be on the team next year if we don't want them to be. We can just turn that into cap space. Secondly, we got back a young player in Dennis Smith Jr. We always knew that this man could hoop. We saw him put in the work at NC State, and most importantly, he's going to be slanging on the wood at the Garden, and he's going to be slanging that wood off the court as well. Welcome to New York, baby. What a fit. And then also, a little fucking icing on the cake here, we got 2 future first-round picks, which means that worst case scenario, if nobody decides to show up, we just get to continue the rebuild and be able to use our cap space to sign whoever the fuck we want, which means we could get expiring contracts, we could get really young and take chances, and more importantly, if everybody tries to swing for these big free agents and they miss, the leftovers are still going to be just as good. There's a lot of really good talent coming out in this free agent class for 2019. But y'all already knew that because guess what? The rumors are already starting to mill here in New York and all around the globe. KD and Kyrie. Think about where the Knicks were last year and think about where we could be at next year. I've never seen a turnaround like this in my life. The New York Knicks have had a gift given to us, and that is flexibility. We have not been in this position in like 20 some years. People want to compare this to 2010 when we said we were going to try to get LeBron, but then we ended up getting Amari Stoudemire. I think it's going to be different because not only do we have enough cap space to sign one max free agent, we can get 2. And there ain't no better place to play at than the Garden, baby.
I don't want to ruin any of this parade, but I will have to notify you that Wesley Matthews was cut already and released, and he just signed with the Pacers. But besides that, I got to agree with this optimism. I like this trade for the Knicks, especially knowing the fact that Kristaps is 7'3", and if you look at the history of players that have been 7'3" in the league, it's usually 10 years or less. I love the unicorn. I think that he's a great talent, but I also think that injuries might hinder his career. But I am very excited to see what him and Luka can do on the Mavericks. So I definitely like this trade on both sides. The Knicks getting Dennis Smith. You got DeAndre Jordan. I think you guys should probably re-sign him. Not on some crazy deal that he got with Dallas, but on a reasonable deal. Maybe just a 1 or 2 year deal. And then, yeah, go out and get those free agents. Another thing that you said about the rumors, apparently DeAndre Jordan and KD are very good friends. KD, Dennis Smith, DeAndre, and Kyrie, that's fireworks. That's something I'm here for in this new NBA.
Hopefully it can happen, but even if it doesn't, I'm still proud of my team. And most importantly, my management in the New York Knicks organization for having the fucking huevos, the fucking balls to be able to pull off such a bold trade proposal. A lot of people are sitting here and trying to give us this L as if they can just keep laughing on the Knicks. Keep laughing, baby, because we're going to be on the top someday, and then you guys are going to have to fucking cover us. Suck my dick from the fucking back.
And y'all still have a chance at the number 1 pick.
Oh my gosh, I know. That'd be crazy. That's like the ultimate dream. I think somebody was interviewing Zion, of course, the other day, and they asked him the question that if he was to be the number 1 pick and New York was to get the number 1 pick in the draft, there could be the potential that it would be Zion, KD, and Kyrie. And like being a beaten down Knicks fan, I've never had the imagination or the creativity to dream that high. But when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I felt hope. And I haven't felt hope in so long, Sterling. So long.
That would be wild, having those two talents with an unreleased talent. Like, we don't know exactly what Zion's ceiling is. I think that's the main thing that people don't really know about Zion is, like, how good could he actually be? Because we just see this crazy athleticism. The blocks, the dunks, all, like, his motor, like, we're just like, if he just keeps developing and then gaining skill, what is his limit? Like, how good could this man actually be at the end of the day? And we just don't know that yet.
If he can get that jumper, there's no flaw to his game.
If he can consistently hit down a three-pointer, like just become a spot-up shooter where he can stretch the floor too, that's dangerous.
Super dangerous, because if he learns how to space the floor, especially because you kind of have to in this league, especially if you're playing the guard position, if he is able to actually space the floor and get a threatening three-point jump shot down, he doesn't need that much space to get to the rack. It's either he's going to kill you at the three-point line or you're going to hesitate a little bit and he's just going to be at the rim.
Exactly, because nobody wants to get in front of a 285-pound freight train.
Not at all.
Just running at you.
Not at all.
And then he also has, like, skills. He got handles, too. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, he can actually dribble the ball some. Like, I don't know if you ever seen him do that in and out that he did.
Yeah.
I just froze the dude and then went up and dunked. I was like, oh, snap. That is dangerous.
That is dangerous. Exactly. That's the only way I could describe it, bro. Is like, if you've played basketball before and you played against somebody who's like a D1 college athlete or something like that, you can notice the difference in athleticism. So if you make one mistake, it's like game over. Like the repercussions, you can feel it. And I see that on every other college basketball player's face whenever they have to defend Zion. They're just like, if I mess up even a little bit, it's over. Like, it's immediately over.
I think that's the main thing that separates elite players from good players is being able to take opportunity on each mistake that the opponent makes. Like, they just out of position this much. Boom, just attack right now.
Yep.
No hesitation.
Hey, what you think about Ja Morant?
He's nice. He's going to be nice as well. He's a playmaker. He's an athletic playmaker. But from what I've seen, I don't think he has a shot.
Yeah, that's what I've seen as well. That's my biggest worry with him is because, like, he's so exposed. You're right. He's really good at passing the ball. But then the only other thing he has to offer offensively that I've seen is just his ability to get straight to the rim.
See, I haven't seen him play much, but I would say to me he kind of reminds me of like a DeJounte Murray. Like very athletic. I'm assuming he could probably play defense if he got that type of explosiveness.
But it also depends on what type of system you're playing, and that's the crazy thing about the NBA. You know, we always want to say that the players are going to do whatever they want, but I think this season has proved probably for the most part that coaching really matters. You look at the Bucks last year versus what they're doing this year with Budenholzer as the coach. I mean, it makes a world of a difference.
That is true.
But if Ja Morant can get in the right system, that kind of fosters the type of play that you were talking about from earlier, Sterlz, he's going to be nice.
I definitely think he has a chance to be something special in this league. Especially if he can just get that jumper down, he's going to be dangerous. Because that type of athleticism is just, it's only something you can be born with.
Speaking of other young talent that was moving around, the East continues to get better, not just the Knicks. We also got the Raptors, the Bucks, the Sixers. Where do we want to start at?
Remind me of that Raptors.
So the Raptors, only a couple of days ago, recently got Marc Gasol. And what the Raptors decided to give up in exchange for Marc Gasol was Jonas Valanciunas, who was a steady role player for the Raptors for a lot of years, DeLon Wright, CJ Miles, and then the 2024 second round pick.
That was kind of steep.
It was in terms of depth, but their talent in Toronto is so good right now at the forward spot that I think they'll be fine.
That's true.
So for me, I feel like it was pretty much just switching Jonas Valanciunas out for Marc Gasol.
I definitely think that's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Blonde Wright, I'll say that. He was a nice player. From Utah, the boy could ball.
I was just about to say the same thing because I'm thinking about how the Raptors are going to be looking like come April. And if Kyle Lowry, the Kyle Lowry we've seen for the past couple of years, they don't really have that depth at the guard position that they'll need. I mean, Fred VanVleet is nice, but he can't be doing all the work. It would be nice to see them try to pick up another guard off of buyout season, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I wanted the Kyle Lowry for Mike Conley's fit.
If he went to the Raptors, oh my gosh, that team would be so cold.
Yes, for once. Like, he's always been on, he's been on some pretty decent teams, but he's never played with, a superstar guard or forward before. It's always just kind of been him. Yeah, it's always kind of just been him and Gasol. And then they'd have a decent, when they were good, they'd have a pretty decent forward, Jeff Green when he was in his prime and JaMychal Green when he was balling out for a little bit. But they never really just had somebody who could take over. He never played with somebody who could take over the position as a forward or the shooting guard. He never played with one of them. He had Courtney Lee and freaking who's a dude that just played defense all the time. And then he had the big boys, Gasol and
Tony Allen?
Yeah, Tony Allen. Yeah. That's the thing. Their best team was him, Courtney Lee, Tony Allen, Zach Randolph, and Marc Gasol. Imagine
that team really ain't shit.
That's exactly looking back at it. At one point they were first in the East. first in the West. That Memphis team was first in the West. But imagine if he just played with
right.
Kawhi. That's what I just want to see what would happen if he just had a transcendent forward or guard playing with him, where he doesn't really have to be reliant on scoring at all, and he's mostly just a compliment. Technically you could say he was a compliment to Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph, but that's just a lot of posting up, banging in the paint. And I want to see how he would play off somebody who can just go get theirs from the three-point line, whether they just pulling up, doing something like that, and just see how they play off each other.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I think it would have definitely solidified them coming out of the East for sure. I think about how Conley especially would have fit on that Raptors team because it would have been him, Kawhi, and Pascal Siakam. Easily one of the most underrated players in the NBA right now. That would have been absolutely cool.
Most improved player of the year, possibly. I think the only person possibly could be Tobias Harris. Even he's kind of been slept on, but as far as what he's been doing this year, production-wise, he turned himself into a fringe all-star player. In my opinion, should have been.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. But I think the only thing that's going to hurt Tobias Harris coming down the stretch is him having to be on a team with three other all-stars pretty much. And his production is going to have to go down because of that, and he's going to be on a new team. He's going to have to try to get himself comfortable, and chemistry's going to have to build. So there's going to be some rough transition moments coming down the rest of the season for the Sixers. Since you brought that up, we might as well get into it, man. Another trade that definitely shook up the NBA was going on for the Sixers. Yeah, so this was absolutely shocking. we pretty much have the Warriors of the East. I mean, they got 4 All-Stars now. The Sixers, with the bombshell trade, they ended up trading away Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, who eventually gets moved to the Lakers, Landry Shamet, who has been surprisingly good this season for the Sixers.
They knew he was a shooter. I'm pretty sure he was a junior before he came out, so he was a little bit more developed than these freshmen coming out. But from Wichita State, Shamet, yes, bro, buddy can ball. 3-point specialist.
So yeah, that's gonna be nice for the Clippers. And then the Sixers ended up giving up a 2020 first-round pick, a 2021 first-round pick from Miami, which if Miami keeps on doing what Miami's been doing, that's probably going to be a late lottery pick. And then 2 future second-round picks from Detroit. So they gave up 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds. Landry Shamet, I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's hard.
And Wilson Chandler. But what the Sixers ended up getting back, an all-star in Tobias Harris, of course, his buddy and good friend, Boban Marjanovic, the People's MVP, and of course, Dunder Mifflin's very own, Michael Scott.
Michael Scott was balling today, too. I didn't even know this man was still in the league, to be honest.
Same.
But he still looks good, like, as far as physical appearance and being able to play. So, shoot, all power to this man. I don't know, how old is this man at this point in his career?
But man, Mike Scott, he's still out here getting an NBA check, which means he's still hooping. Much respect to this man.
I like it.
Who do you think won this trade between the 76ers and the Clippers, Sterlz?
I think long-term Clippers won, but short-term definitely the 76ers. Because the Clippers' goal was never for this year. They do got that man Jerry West and his GM specialty. Like, this man makes moves and great moves. And I think he set them up to be able to, because what they want is first team all NBA players in Kawhi and possibly KD. And now they got the chance to possibly get both and try to steal KD from the Knicks.
This is going to be the first offseason where so many large markets have like an absurd amount of cap space, and there aren't that many like really, really good top heavy free agents in the 2019 class. So it's going to be interesting to see how these free agents choose their spots. Like the Clippers, I think the Clippers and the Nets personally are the 2 nicest free agent destinations to go to. Even though the Knicks have a ton of cap space, I wouldn't be saying any of that if the Clippers didn't make a trade like this. Like, goddamn, that not only are they going to have cap space, they also got a slew of draft picks. And with Jerry West being the GM genius that he is, he's going to be able to use those first round and second round picks as potential trade assets moving forward down the line to get whatever player he wants.
Exactly. And I think they knew, I mean, most people in the NBA knew, without injuries, the Warriors gonna win the NBA championship. Like it's pretty much just set in stone at this point.
Facts.
So that everybody's just thinking, what can I do to make myself better for the future?
Man, imagine how many teams are gonna be salty if KD resigns with the Warriors.
He's gonna mess up a lot of plans. Like everybody in the East, they are competing just to be the best of the East right now, hoping that West breaks up as far as the Warriors. So that's why you see all these East teams, they was vying for position at the top. That's why, like you said, all the top teams made moves for the most part.
Like Sterling was saying from before, the East is all in on trying to win right now, and it definitely showed in the top 4. I know we just talked about the Sixers, we talked about the Raptors, but let's get into the Bucks. They sneakily might have done one of the best trades this deadline, and that was to get Nikola Mirotic onto the Bucks from the Pelicans.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, people gotta understand how big of a deal this trade was. So it ended up being a 3-team deal. The Pistons received Thon Maker, who low-key could be a great diamond in the rough. The Bucks obviously received Mirotic, and then the Pelicans received Jason Smith. Stanley Johnson, who showed a lot of talent in college, and I was hoping he'd break out, just hasn't hit yet. And then also the Pelicans received 4 future second-round picks from Detroit. So, I mean, they're second-rounders, so they're non-guaranteed contracts, and they're not big of a deal, but I mean, you're going to be able to take a lot of swings at bat for young talent. with that?
Yeah, I really like this for the Bucks. Mirotic has always kind of been slept on. He can always be a very useful piece, no matter how you use him. Like, you could have him in the starting lineup, and he could be like your number 2 or number 3 guy, or I feel like you can just put him on the bench and he could be your 6th man. Because this man is kind of, to me, kind of similar to Kuzma as far as he's going to go out there and get his in any means necessary. Like,
Yeah.
he's pulling at times, even when you don't want him to pull. But then he'll make it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, we'll live with that.
And that's exactly what the Bucks were missing going in through most of the regular season. It was pretty obvious that the way that the Bucks were playing was to make Giannis the main core playmaker, to drive to the basket and open the floor up to spacing for the other 4 players, essentially, to shoot 3-pointers. And if that's the way the Bucks are going to be playing moving forward, it only makes sense to get one of the best players to be in one of those 4 other spots, and that's Nikola Mirotic. If you just see the way that Nikola gets his shots on the floor, it is similar to Kyle Kuzma's spots. He's going to be able to run and gun. He's going to be able to create his own shots sometimes. And that means, most importantly, during the playoffs, if they double on Giannis, you got a man who's going to be able to knock down a 3 and has proven he can knock down a 3 in the playoffs like he did last year for the Pelicans.
I just thoroughly enjoy this trade for the Bucks. I definitely think they got better, especially in the East. In my opinion, right now, they might be my favorites to come out of the East because they still got some depth. It's not like they lost a lot of depth with this or anything. So, like, they got a nice, solid core players. They got a transcendent player in Giannis. And then they were able to pick up a very good role player who can go out there and sometimes be your leading scorer in Nikola Mirotic.
That's completely true. And if they're able to produce results this year, whether it be an Eastern Conference Finals, whether it be the finals, they're going to be able to show people coming into this offseason that they are a place to be at. Very similar to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the reason why I say that is because the Thunder right now have PG and Russ. The Bucks have Giannis and cap space for a free max agent. And I know Sterling and me have been spending the whole time talking about LA and New York and Brooklyn, but the Bucks are perfectly made for a player who wants to win a championship and only cares about basketball. If you are a max free agent and you're trying to win a chip, Anthony Davis had the Bucks on his list. That's not by accident. If you pair another max agent or max free player with Giannis in that Eastern Conference with that coach and these role players, you could be in the position to consistently make it out of the Eastern Conference the same way LeBron James was for his miraculous 8-year run.
I agree, especially because that man Giannis cannot be guarded. It's just he can't shoot. You just gotta let him take his shot. But like, when he wants to get to the basket, he's getting to the basket. And there's not really anything you can do to stop him.
And he's going to get there in 2 steps.
Exactly. All you can do is pack in the paint, but then you're going to have to leave people wide open when you do that. So if he's paired with another max contract type player, he's going to have so many more openings, allowing him to get to the bucket. And then when that is closed off to him, imagine him just kicking it out to another max player who can just drive in there from the weak side or do something, and boom, it's point.
Yeah, that's unstoppable. I'd be really, really interested to actually see what Anthony Davis would be like on this team too. I know the Bucks don't have the trade assets to actually get that deal done, but if something miraculous was to happen and you had Giannis and Anthony Davis on the same floor at the same time, that could be insane. That could be like Boogie and AD again, but in a much better system with much better role players.
I was about to say, like, we thought Boogie and AD was crazy. That's taking it to a whole nother level.
I knew Anthony Davis was about championships when he had the Bucks on his list of teams he'd like to get traded to. Like, I was fucking with his list. I know ESPN was like already pretty much getting the dicks out for Anthony Davis to be on the Lakers. But listen, Anthony Davis wants to win a championship. And I respect players who are about that. So much so that they were willing to turn down $240 million in guaranteed money just to chase that championship. That's what separates the greats from the good. And because of that, I hope he gets rewarded with being on a good team whenever he gets traded.
I agree with that. He deserves more than what he's gotten so far, in the league.
So let's talk about it, man. This Pelicans situation with the Lakers, the way that the Pelicans have been handling trying to contain AD yet let him play. Do you think the Pelicans are putting themselves in the position to get the most out of their trade value in Anthony Davis right now? Or have they already fucked it up?
I think they might have fucked it up some. Because I don't know if you can be sure that Kyrie's going to re-sign at this point. And then if he doesn't re-sign, then the Celtics probably won't offer as much as they would be willing to, knowing that Kyrie's going to be there to be able to pair him up with Kyrie. And then I also wouldn't think that the Lakers' original offer would still be on the table or anything as good as that as it was at one point. Because especially if I'm the Lakers, I'm drawing back. I'm like, no, you could have that at that time, but now, like, I'm not doing that. And then what if the Lakers were to sign like a big free agent before that? Then that offer probably goes off the table completely. So I think that the GMs won in this case as far as not having the Pelicans make that trade, but I think it all gonna come back to haunt the Pelicans.
The Lakers are going to be completely within their rights to pull back on certain parts of what they were offering from before, because if the Celtics aren't there and you look at the other offers that will probably stand, the Lakers are going to beat every single one of those other offers. Like, the Celtics are the only team that can really, really compete with the assets that they have compared to what the Lakers have just recently offered. Like Sterling was saying from before, if Kyrie leaves, then the team is pretty much Jason Tatum. Unless you're willing to trade a franchise player to get one back in AD, that's probably going to be rough because AD said that he doesn't want to re-sign there already. And Danny Ainge, as great of a GM as he is, unfortunately has the reputation of being a little bit cold and callous to players. And if you trade Jason Tatum, that's only going to add to that reputation. It's going to be tough to have players that want to come play for the Celtics in an environment like that. And I just don't think it would be of the Celtics' best interest to try to trade with the Pelicans, which means the Pelicans have the Knicks, maybe, and that's pretty much it. Nobody else can really compete with what the Lakers can offer. And at that point, you've given the leverage back to the Lakers. And that's a position you don't want to be at ever as a GM.
Exactly.
Do you think the Lakers fucked up by not trading for Anthony Davis now, though?
I think everybody blew this out of proportion. The whole plan, their whole plan coming into this, they knew they weren't going to be that great this year. Like, their goal was just to make the playoffs and stuff like that. But then when people heard the possibilities of being able to trade for AD, I think the media kind of blew this up and was trying to push this more than what should have happened. Like, they should have just stuck with the plan that they had when he first signed. I think this kind of just would have kind of threw a wrench into it, because they would have had to get rid of so much that they would have had to have won for this to make any type of sense, and they would have to have won like now.
Here's one final take that I want to add, and this is completely my opinion, but I've legitimately been thinking this the whole time. The Lakers were bluffing when they gave the Pelicans that offer, that second offer. I think the Lakers knew that the Pelicans weren't going to pick up their calls because no sensible person would. Nobody would. I think a lot of people in the media were saying that, would just be like, I'm not even answering the call until the summer. So if you know somebody else is going to do that, you could purposefully try to offer them the whole farm and then some, just to show at least AD, this is how much we care about you. They don't want to repeat what they did with Paul George, so they get that idea out. And if you weirdly think about it, if this is a game of chess, maybe Rob Pelinka planned this all along. That's all I want to say. I think all of this was kind of purposefully done by Rob Pelinka. That man is a genius. Nobody stumbles into being Kobe's agent.
I mean, I'm not opposed to this. I like that. The power plays.
That's how real business moves get made. It's really, really fun to see people GM. I enjoy seeing all of this, and that's why I've really enjoyed this whole trade season in general. This deadline season was fucking awesome. Let's see. Are there any other trades you want to get into? Oh, Markelle Fultz. He still exists. And he's on a Magic now. And I honestly can't be happier for this young man's career. We know he's been dealing with a lot. Not only with his shooting shoulder, but off the court as well. And with the pressure of being a former number one pick really off of his shoulders, he'll be able to just play. Kind of similar to D'Angelo Russell. He got put in a really shitty situation, but because of that, it gave him the freedom to play the way he wanted to play because nobody gave a shit about him anymore, and he was able to get to the position of being an all-star now. Maybe that can happen with Markelle Fultz. I'm still a believer, man.
I'd like to see that. I think we'll all have to see. I never really saw this man in college do anything. Like, I never really watched any of the games. I only saw the highlights. So I wasn't too in-depth on this man's talent. But, I mean, it would be nice to see. It's always sad to see a number one pick in the NBA just go and basically not do anything.
The Magic, of course, traded with the Sixers. The Sixers ended up receiving Jonathan Simmons, former Spur. He is a nice pickup. That is a good role player you would want on your team, man. I like that pickup. Sixers also ended up getting a protected 2019 first-round pick and a 2019 second-round pick. So they ended up getting draft assets back, which is insane. Like, for Markelle Fultz to get a first-round, second-round pick and Jonathan Simmons, man, Sixers. That man, Elton Brand, has been going to work.
Yeah, he definitely put in work. Getting that first and second-round pick is a great asset. You know you're going to have a chance to look into the draft and be able to find somebody. And then Jonathan Simmons, if you can get him playing to that level that he was with the Spurs, it would be a very nice pickup.
But outside of that, I'll quickly scan over some other trades that happened that might be a little less popular but could still impact the league in a big way. Avery Bradley got traded to Memphis. The Clippers ended up getting back Garrett Temple and JaMychal Green. My man Ivica Zubac, pretty much the center of the future for the Lakers, is no longer on the Lakers. He's on Clippers now. It's him and Mike Beasley. Keep your third eye open. Clippers are just all into not winning, I suppose, but they're going to be looking real nice come this offseason. So I see what they're trying to do long term. I respect the Godfather-like moves, Jerry West. The Lakers, however, get Mike Muscala. And he's already yielded value, I feel, for this team by being a shooter that they desperately needed.
The Lakers were able to pick up two shooters in these trade deadlines in Reggie Bullock and Mike Muscala. We'll have to see how it pays off.
And then finally, the last little trade that I want to mention here is Iman Shumpert getting sent to the Rockets in a 3-team trade. What ended up happening was the Houston Rockets received Iman Shumpert, Nick Stauskas, Wade Baldwin IV, and a 2021 second-round pick. The Sacramento Kings received Alec Burks and a 2020 second-round pick, I'm assuming from Houston. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers received Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris, a 2019 first-round pick, and a 2022 second-round pick. So seems that they're just trying to accrue draft talent for right now. It seems that the Cavs are pretty content being in tank mode, and it'll work out very well for them if they're trying to rebuild by accruing draft talent and young players that might be able to help them now. But more importantly, the Rockets get Iman Shumpert, who is an absolute dog on defense and a really good player you would want for that type of Rockets offensive and defensive scheme, especially with the amount of switching that they do. And then Nick Stauskas.
It was just so nice seeing Iman be free and being able to play. And I feel like him joining the Rockets, now he's going to be in a much more serious environment. And there's going to be James Harden. And he's not going to be able to play his game as much, especially at least on the offensive end, because we always know he's going to bring it on the defensive end. And that's the one thing about this that made me just like, damn, I miss free Iman Shumpert, not like knowing that he is just a dominant ball handler.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be his role on the Rockets. And, you know, seeing him on his whole career, he got drafted by the Knicks, and he played so well for them. I felt like he was finally getting back to that like 21 Shump Street like mentality when he was on the Kings. And you're right, freedom plays a big role in this. Like, the man is used to having threesomes. You can't try to contain what this man does on the court and off the court. So by putting him in those positions of seriousness, like he was on the Cavs and now currently will be on the Rockets, he's definitely going to bring out aggressiveness and a great defensive mentality. But I feel like in terms of what's best for his individual career, this might not be like him being able to like flourish and have the freedom that he wants to, like he used to when he was on the Kings. But if he does make that sacrifice willingly, he's going to be in the position to compete for a championship. And if you talk to anybody who's won a championship ever in their life, the second you get one, you try to get the next one. Is that all the trades we want to talk about? I mean, Jabari got traded to the Wizards, him and Bobby Portis, for Otto Porter Jr. That did happen. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought that was kind of steep price for Otto Porter Jr. How good is this man?
Yeah, the Bulls, they just got to get it together, man. The Knicks are more competent than the Bulls right now. Think about that.
Exactly. We're just going to have to wait and see. Got All-Star break coming up, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more stories. I hope y'all have a happy Valentine's Day. Don't get your side chick pregnant.
And we out. Peace.